Hi, I'm Joe Polizzi, and this is the Content Inc. podcast. 5 minutes every Monday for content creators who desire to be content entrepreneurs. Hey gang, on the last episode of the 10K Creator podcast, hopefully you caught it and hopefully you're enjoying it. We're getting a lot of really good feedback, so thanks so much for joining us in this new experiment. But on the last episode, you learned a little bit about how Lexi Grant runs her content businesses. Now, I've sold 2 content businesses, but Lexi is a real pro in this area. And her site and her newsletter, They Got Acquired, is totally worth subscribing to if you're ever thinking about selling your content business at some point. Now, this morning, I received 4 tips from They Got Acquired, specifically for content founders on the things they need to do now to prepare their companies, just in case they might want to sell someday. So let's run through them with some action items specifically for you. So first, Lexi says, create a brand that doesn't revolve around you. If the company's brand is built on your reputation alone, another company might not be able to run it without you, which could make it challenging to sell. Now, it was about 2012 when this hit me while running Content Marketing Institute. Some people called it at the time the Joe Show. And it was then that I realized that if I kept running the business this way, with me doing a good portion of the blog posts and me positioned as running the research and me doing all the hosting at our events, there would be no way to separate Joe Polizzi and CMI. So I made it a goal that each year I would start removing me, at least publicly, away from the business. I was limiting myself to 1 article a week at most on the site. I removed myself from sales activities, hiring someone to handle that area. And at our event, Content Marketing World, I still did the opening keynote, but I shortened it and started getting other people involved from the staff. And it wasn't just me selecting the speakers for the agenda anymore. We put a full team together so that ultimately I could take myself out of that process entirely. All in all, this took 4 years to accomplish, and when we began the selling process in 2015, the possible buyers could see that the company could actually grow without me, and it absolutely worked. Plus, I was just a happier person, but we'll talk about that in a second. Now, the second point Lexi says is keep your accounting clean. If you keep your accounting clean from the beginning, you'll avoid the massive chore of putting your books together or fixing mistakes, or worse, thinking your business is worth more than it really is. Now, when we sold CMI, working through the financials was the most grueling of everything we did. Now, we did an okay job up to that point, but we weren't prepared nearly enough. So now is a good time to have a professional accountant go through your numbers and tell them, hey, if I wanted to sell this business, what holes do we have in how we record our transactions and what do we need to do to fix it? Now, also, another key area here is agreements. Make sure you have solid agreements for all your contractors and employees. Anything agreed to needs to be on paper. Now, same with your insertion orders for your sponsors. Terms and conditions should be spelled out for each one. Lexi's third point is optimizing for profit. Now, while every company valuation is in the eye of the beholder, many online businesses sell for a multiple of profit. So the number one thing you can do to maximize your company's value is to increase the profit number. Now, this is true, and even more true. Revenue growth is critical, but if a media company wants to buy you, they will look at your profit after all expenses and then give you a multiple of that. Generally, let's say 8 to 10 times profit for an event and subscription business, and something lower for an affiliate and sponsorship-based business. Also remember that when you do the numbers, you need to put in a salary for you and whoever else is doing work for you for free. The company buying you will assume that they need to replace what you do, what other people do that are not getting paid, and there is, of course, a price to that plus benefits. And finally, Lexi tells us to build a business that can run without you. Sort of back to our first point, most bootstrap founders do much of the work themselves initially. There are benefits to starting this way, but over time you want to position for a sale and your business should be able to run without you. Now here's my advice. Do these 4 things even if you are never planning on selling. Doing these 4 things will create not only an amazing asset, but will help you build a life outside of just your content business, where you run the business and your business doesn't run you. Lexi will also be presenting her amazing ideas on how to prepare your content business for sale at Creator Economy Expo, May 1st to 3rd in Cleveland, Ohio. I hope to see you there. If you haven't signed up yet, what's the problem? CEX.events, go sign up. And until then, especially with all this Twitter stuff going on and TikTok craziness, leverage those social media sites when it makes sense, but don't build your business on top of platforms you cannot control. Good luck.